Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chats. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong live for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well.
Well, hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats. I'm in the airport, in Brisbane International Airport today, on my way to Fiji for a bit of a holiday, but also a bit of business, bit of education, and a bit of learning time. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Can't speak too loud this morning in the airport. I don't want to disturb everyone, but hey, good morning, Chris. Good to see you, mate. Good to see a few of the early birds up and at it already. Do the quick intros while things are getting settled in. Jason Witten's my name. You guys know that. If you don't, if you're new, say hello in the chat. It'd be great to hear from you. And let us know where you are dialing in from for this morning's show. Hey, good morning, Geordie. Good to see you. There's Luke. Oh yeah, great, good stuff, Luke. Yeah, last night was excellent. Sammy always puts on a good show, that's for sure. That is for sure. Hey, great to see a few jumping on early. Hey, listen, today I thought we might finish off a bit of the conversation from last night, Luke. Luke was talking about, folks, if you didn't already know, our coaching and mentoring program, those who are in our lifetime program of getting coached, advised, assisted to build their property portfolios. Last night we talked about creating passive income from your portfolio and how and when to expect that. I didn't get a chance last night to finish off the conversation around the income engine, the idea of weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly income, and how you create that as an investor, as a property investor. Let's talk about property investing because that's what we do. That's what I do. So if you want to borrow the experience and the concepts that we've put down over sort of 25 years, then that's what this is about. So good to see a few of a few newbies in. Hey, Kevin's all the way from Florida. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining. Oh, hey, great to have you here. Thank you. Geordie always from all the way from Sydney. There you go. What's the weather like in Sydney today? I was meant to fly via Sydney to Fiji today, but you know what I did? I set my alarm for PM, not AM. There you go. That's why I should use the 24-hour clock, shouldn't I? Ben, morning, mate. How are you? It's Sonia. Hey, good morning, Sonia. Good to see you. Hey, so listen, last night we talked about creating that passive income and doing a few things a bit differently into the future, building your property portfolio. But the idea that at some point we want a passive income from our property portfolio is nothing new for this conversation we've been having. I've been working with property investors for well over 25 years now, and every time I talk to them, they say, "Hey, I would like my property portfolio to replace my income, in the future." Now, along the way, most property investors would like, certainly would like, or probably enjoy the idea that some of their wealth also grows. So it grows from a small amount of invested capital to a large amount of invested capital. That's the way we want to make it work. But really, at the end of the day, a 7 to 15-year plan to deploy and create this as we roll along, folks. But last night we talked about the idea of the types of properties, migration of money, what assets you might need, newer assets, older assets, locations for that real estate, all of those sorts of things, how long it's going to take to grow and turn into passive income. But really, at the end of the day, part of the conversation is what we call the income engine. Myself and Sam over the years have seen 4 different dimensions of income being created by different types of investing, different investing ideas, processes, and the idea that we can copy some of the wealthiest people in the world when it comes to property investing. Australia's most successful property investor, Harry Triguboff. And I've used Harry a few times. What would Harry do in this sort of circumstance? How does Harry build his property portfolio? Because, folks, if you didn't already know, he's worth a fair bit of money, 13 plus billion. I think he's worth a little bit more now. That was from a couple of years ago. What's Harry worth, and what does he do? How does he build his property portfolio? What are the lessons we can take from Harry? And this is where we came up with the concept, what we call the income engine. The income engine, where we understand what Harry's getting up to. 83 years old, probably about 85 now, and he's got a pretty sizable portfolio. 6,000 plus properties. And how did Harry get there? Well, he has a bit of an interesting conversation, a bit of an interesting allocation of how he invests in real estate and creates the world of property investing. Now, have a look at this. Now, tell me, what's the so if we have a look at sort of above the line here, let's sort of say above the line. Tell me, folks, in the world of property investing, tell me in the chat, what type of properties are those types of properties? And I'm sort of trying not to give the answer away, but just a regular. He loves doing it, that's for sure, Tim. Regular rental property, right? Regular rental property, and serviced apartments. What type of property is that? What type of investment strategy is that when it comes to Harry's world, right? And if we look at this, if we sort of divide this by a few long-term and short-term, boom, absolutely, Chris. So that's long-term and short-term rentals. We'll talk about that in a second. And also, it's buy and hold, right? Buy and hold, which he goes short-term and long-term rentals. I love it, right? So what could we replicate as we go? Yeah, and then down below, Tim, absolutely. This is where Harry does what we would call trading activity, right? So he adds value, and then to make a smart move, he adds some value by construction, development, or whatever it might be, and then he goes ahead and keeps some because he doesn't want to pay too much tax, obviously, and then he might accelerate some of those incomes as well when it comes to different styles of property. So what can we learn? How can we develop something and replicate that in our world of property investing? Well, this is where we call the world of last night. Sam did the old the Kiyosaga's system. the Kiyosaki. What was that? Kiyosakas or whatever it was. Anyway, I can't remember. Maybe someone can put it in the chat. The 4 quadrants of business. But this is the income engine. This is what we can create. Oh, there we go. If my little share window popped out. Here we go. We should be back now. All right, we're back. So the idea that we can create weekly, let's say monthly, quarterly, or annual income, yearly income, and how can we do that as we go along, right? So the most reliable income on the planet, it's Kiyosaki, exactly, Sonia. Most reliable income on the planet is residential, rental, okay? And that, you get paid that on a weekly basis, all right? And this above the line here is how we put our portfolio together, buy and hold, and let's call this trading activity, buy and hold activity. Long-term, simple, boring stuff. Residential real estate, rented out long-term, and this gives us the foundation of our dollars, our wealth, our long-term growth, right? That residential real estate, which is fantastic, very consistent, easily to borrow money. You go to the banks, you go to the lenders, they'll give you some money against it. For some of us, up to 90%. The first home buyers, sometimes 95%, depending on the leverage. That's fantastic, a good way to leverage and get momentum in your portfolio, right? So we make sure that the foundation pieces of our residential real estate are, creating the reliable, long-term, sustainable income, right? And for me, I like the idea of in my portfolio, that's between 60 and 80% of all my wealth is just sitting in that boring stuff. I love the idea of my portfolio being a little bit bored, because then you're probably doing it right. Okay, if it's not racy, probably right. Now, when we talk monthly income, you get paid weekly, depending on how the money gets distributed by your rental system, and depending on the states and whatever. It could be weekly, it could be monthly. But how do we then get some extra income? How do we boost our income from over here? If you look at the residential real estate, you're usually looking at 4 to 5%. How do we boost our income? From 6 to 10%. Okay, 6 to 10%. How do we boost our income and maximize our wealth and our value? Well, Chris talked about it before. We had a look at Harry's portfolio. It's short-term rentals and long-term rentals. Now, what does that mean? Now, another way to do, let's say, either short-term rentals. What's another way to do rentals that you can add value, folks? Yep, absolutely. Hopefully my microphone's come back again now. What's another way to add value to your rentals, and it's not short-term, folks? I'm trying to give away the answer here, but we use the equity for joint ventures. Absolutely, Tim. That's the next part below. Once we create that activity. So I'll give you an example. I used it last night. You can see that there. One of my properties up in Brisbane, I fully furnish it. It's actually a 1-bedroom plus study apartment, which is pretty good. It rents for $900 a week, right? So we bought that property for 400. It was 505 actually. Can't remember. So you go 46,000 divided by 505 equals 9%. So yeah, fully furnished, absolutely. So one of my properties up in Brisbane, and this is pretty simple. Instead of renting it regular, chuck it over here. You can go, all right. You can go short term. You can go furnished, and you you can rent sort of room by room as well, if you wanted to do some sort of student accommodation or something else as well. So my it's furnished long term, is now 9%, folks. Now 9%. Still residential real estate, still boring, straightforward, no problems with borrowing, etc. But the rental on it is significantly, up there. Hey, good morning, Rosie. Yep, Chris and Luke are all over it. Furnishing thing. Now the furniture cost me about $35,000. So sometimes you might not have the extra capital straight up, right? So this is one of the things that we could do. Let's say we purchased a property, and let's say for the first 3 to 5 years you rented it regular, and then you had enough equity in the property to buy a good furniture pack or put it together, and then hey, voila, your rental income now goes up significantly, and your debt reduction can happen a lot quicker if that's part of your plan or not. So I like to stick with residential at the top, but some people like to, for a higher yield, sometimes people might go for commercial or industrial or whatever like that. I'm not a fan of commercial, industrial, retail properties for most of my investors, because the borrowing capacity on those is a lot less, and the vacancy rate can be a lot higher, and the complexity on commercial industrial lending is a little bit more tricky, right? It's certainly not a regular buy and hold type investment, folks. That one. Yes, you get more income, but you get more problems. And yes, 100%, Chris, the furniture is tax deductible, significantly tax deductible, by the way. So I love that. I love that one. So now let's have a look at the bottom part. What does Harry do? So back here, Harry's portfolio. There we go. Harry's portfolio. He's got his serviced apartments. He's got his regular rentals at the top. So then, how do we in our portfolio get a bit of that development action, folks? How do we get that development action? Well, you guys know the drill. Right now, many of you are involved in our joint ventures, and the returns on those joint ventures, 15 to 20%, and sometimes a bit more. Okay, and that's being a partner, like an armchair developer with us in projects that come available. So joint ventures, that's trading. That's every sort of 12 to 24 months that you get a return. You get a return in cash. You can't necessarily you can't manipulate the return to be a bit more tax effective, because you're not really the developer, you're an investor, but you're getting a good return, right? You're getting a good cash return. And like I think it was Chris said it before. No, it was Tim actually. Tim said, right, when you get equity up here, when you get equity and capacity, you can make that equity work harder down here, either equity or cash, and you can make it work harder. So joint ventures over here, and this one, many years ago, probably 5-6 years ago, we used to do duplexes at Positive with our clients, and duplexes it's a bit harder to get them going. And Geordie, so does it require a bigger deposit for development? Yes, if you're going to develop something yourself, if you're going to build anything more than, let's say, a duplex, you're going to require 30 to 40% of the total development cost to be put in cash. So that's why most investors, when they're starting out, won't do anything like that. Like you don't want all of your capital tied up in something that's going to take so long. But when you have, let's say Sam's example last night, you bought $3 million worth of real estate, and now your real estate, 15 years later is worth $6 million. Well, you've got an extra $1 million in equity you could use, and then you could start doing some stuff. So yeah, it's not a great strategy up front, Geordie, but certainly something that's worth doing medium to long term for income acceleration. And certainly for many of you, you don't have to do it yourself. That's why you're in our coaching and mentoring program. You get access to the amazing opportunities that we get access to. Sam has been doing this longer than me. He's been doing it 30 years. He knows everyone in this game in Australia, and we get access to stuff like you would not imagine. And so then we make that access available to you guys through our relationships, which is kind of cool. And so, last but not least, this other part here in the quadrant. This is where we can do. We used to do it in duplexes. So you could buy yourself a duplex, you can sell one, and then keep one. Right. This is where you could do small trading deals. Right. One of the things right now is that Andy Fenton and myself are helping investors set up investment companies for part of their wealth creation for the future. Now, a few reasons I'll go into investment companies at another time, but creating a trading strategy, a buying and selling strategy for your investment company, creating extra tax-free or tax already paid. It's technically not tax-free, but the tax is not paid by you for your future. Okay, so I'll do that on another Wealth Coffee Chat. So there's the idea, team. For you and I, we build our wealth in the upper section here. We build our wealth in the buy and hold section. Our equity grows, and then we transform some of that equity in higher income places at some point. And again, down here, you can get 10 to 15% return on buying and selling regular real estate as you roll along. Okay, as we go. So hopefully that made a bit of sense. A few good questions today, and what I'll do in my next Wealth Coffee Chat is I'll maybe circle around on the investment company idea. That might be worth it. So join us again tomorrow. The team will be doing something tomorrow. The property management team will be on the case on the morrow, and they'll be doing some property management case studies and some training. I'll be back on Thursday for another Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. So that's it from me. Good to have you on with me today. Thanks for joining. Remember, this thing's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time to build this portfolio, folks. I loved Sam's video last night. Don't eat the marshmallow. All right, there you go. All right, that's it from me, folks. Take care. Bye for now.
Episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6 Star team here at positivementor.com.au.